A William Nylander extension could be incoming, as Brad Treliving spoke out yesterday to the media and said that an extension for the forward is of utmost priority. So I'm going to break that down and break down exactly what he said on this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as Treliving also spoke out on some potential plans for the rest of the season. So stay tuned for what's coming up. Before we dig into that, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. We're very, very, very close to 5,000. Scroll down. About 80% of you guys who are watching this right now aren't subscribed. And if you aren't subscribed, click that button as we make daily Leafs content. All right, let's get into the first topic of the day today. We have a lot to get into, and obviously you saw yesterday's video. Brad Treliving spoke out on wanting to upgrade the team, and he said a lot of interesting things, and he continued to say some other things, and he touched on a William Nylander contract incoming. Now, this is the biggest story of the Toronto Maple Leafs season so far, obviously, is William Nylander's success. He has been unbelievable. He's off to the biggest point streak in Leafs history. Obviously, he got snapped a couple games ago, but despite that, he is a guy that everyone wants to extend. The Leafs want to extend. The fans want to extend him. The question is, he keeps raising his price higher and higher with every game and how he continues to improve his play. And this is a guy that during the offseason, whether it was this last offseason, even the year before, we were hoping to extend him maybe at the 9 million AAV range, and that would be comfortable for both teams. But Nylander bet on himself to a degree and has boosted himself up. And we've seen executives, I'll get into some screenshots here in a second, executives wanting saying that he might even get upwards of 11 to 12 million. And Brad Treliving spoke out on this, and here's what he had to say on Nylander. Willie has had a tremendous start to the year. I stated from day one, our objective was to get Austin signed. We got him signed. Our objective is to get Willie signed, and we're working on it. Now, he is very, very correct in this. He said before he signed Austin Matthews that they were going to get him signed, and that was their utmost priority. And ultimately, we signed Matthews to a massive contract. Now, he said the same thing. This is the first time in a while, especially since Nylander's success this season, that Brad Treliving has spoke out on a potential contract. And he says that a contract is seemingly, if you can read between the lines, going to happen, assuming they follow the same structure of Austin Matthews. In the sense that he says he was going to sign Matthews, he did. He said they're going to sign Nylander, and they did. So it seems like an extension is hopefully going to be incoming for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The biggest question now is not only the AAV, but how likely is it going to happen, and when is this extension going to happen? Do you want this to happen? We all thought that maybe it would happen in Sweden and Stockholm, especially continued, granted his great play. He ended the last game in Sweden, and with an overtime winner, I believe, and it was just a phenomenal time to, in theory, extend the forward. But the big question now is, when will an extension take place? And William Nylander want to keep driving his price up, because obviously his price now, again, we're looking probably between 10 and 11 million AAV for William Nylander. Some executives and articles have said upwards of 12. I'm thinking more 10 to 11 million. And I'm not sure right now if the Maple Leafs are negotiating with Nylander, because if it was as simple as what he is saying, it would have already been done. This conversation has been going on for the past month plus, even way before that, into the offseason, the seasons prior. But because this season is playing so well and he's playing such an unbelievable level of hockey, it made not the decision harder, it almost made it easier for Brad Treliving, but it made it harder in the sense that the contract price has definitely skyrocketed. Now, he also said, again, he stays consistent on William Nylander, the most intriguing pending UFA of 2024. Objective is to get Willie signed. We're working on it. And he is a pending UFA. And if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, you do not want William Nylander to walk away without any extension, and then for him to walk away for nothing. He's having the best season of his career. He is at the highest, his peak of value right now, which is a good thing and a bad thing. If you're looking to potentially trade him, which I don't think they're going to do, his value is pretty much at an all-time high, albeit because of the pending UFA. It probably isn't technically as high as it could have been when he had a few years left on his deal. But the point is, he's playing the best hockey of his life. But the issue is, because of that, maybe he has driven himself out of the price range of Brad Treliving. And we've seen a few comps, and I'll bring up a couple in a second. But the biggest thing right now is that Brad Treliving needs to get it done. I'm fine paying an extra $1.5 million AAV compared to what we were maybe expecting to pay. Who knows what the exact term Brad Treliving wants to give Nylander, or what those conversations are like between the two sides, because Nylander seemingly wants to stay in Toronto for the long term, for the rest of his career, and Brad Treliving can do that. The question is also amplified now because of the struggles of the Maple Leafs. They're not playing very well at all. Sheldon Keefe was in the hot seat. He's getting a lot of flame from Leafs fans, and it's a weird time to be a Leafs fan in the sense of we want the Nylander contract to happen. We don't want him to run away in free agency for nothing. Marner has not been playing very well. Matthews has been a bit of a ghost of himself for the past few games, so it's a negative time to be a Leafs fan. Luckily, Brad Treliving went out and spoke about this yesterday, saying that they're going to try to make some improvements, especially to the blue line, which is the biggest issue. But regarding William Nylander, I want a signing to happen sooner than later, because the longer you drag this out, the more stress it puts on not only the fans, not only the GM, but the team in general, as they're eagerly waiting to see will we be re-signing these guys? And it also kind of look at maybe Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, thinking, why are they not re-signing William Nylander for the extra however many million it's going to cost? So those are all questions that you really need to think about when doing a decision like this. And you can pause and read this article. And there's some comps to the Pastrnak comparison. It says, while the Pastrnak comparison isn't completely at to lunch, the fact that Pastrnak has been at a higher level and consistently outperforming Nylander so far means we can cool our jets on the 11.25. So there was a lot of conversations about Pastrnak being the ceiling for William Nylander's contract, so about $11.25 million. But like it said there, Pastrnak has had a more sustained high level of play than Nylander. Nylander's always been a phenomenal winger in this league, but this season especially he is playing at his highest level. Whereas if you look at the previous years, he, cycles in the, he has never been a 100-point guy. He's continued to be, between the 60 to 90 point range, 60 to 80 point range, somewhere that David Pastrnak was a bit of a higher level player than William Nylander for a sustained amount in his career. Not to take anything away from William Nylander, but the point being that he is having an unbelievable season right now, and it's a great thing that we're even putting him in the conversation with, potentially David Pasternak's numbers when it comes to, contract levels. But it's going to be interesting to see. I'm my guess, if I had to guess, between 10 and 11 million, maybe 10.5 million AAV. But again, depending on the contract, the player sets the market, it could end up going much, much more. And if he knows that he can get more in pending free agency, William Nylander, I would not be surprised if he holds out the free agency and kind of forces the Leafs' hand there. But let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on that and what your thoughts are on William Nylander's play so far throughout the season and Brad Treliving's comments as we move on now to Treliving Speaks Out a little bit, and I'll just kind of rapid cover the rest of the quotes before we wrap up here. He said some things, he kind of put into perspective his current feeling about the season as a whole, what he may look to upgrade. So here was Brad Treliving speaking about his team at the quarter mark. From a manager's perspective, you're always looking at how you're playing. To me, we've been hit or miss. There's been inconsistencies in our game, which is a little concerning in an area we'd like to improve on. Now, if you saw our video yesterday, we touched on the fact that Brad Treliving came out and spoke out about wanting to upgrade the blue line specifically. Now, you can put your goggles on, your inspector glasses, and whether that's Nikita Zadorov, Chris Tanev, some other defenseman, he didn't say. But what we do know is that he is actively trying to improve the blue line, but he also said that improvement needs to come from within, and I completely agree. We need Austin Matthews to play better. We need Mitch Marner to play better. We need, hopefully, William Nylander to sustain this incredible level of play, and if they can do that, we'll be a much better team. Now, that being said, the blue line, I think, is more so a skill and personnel issue compared to the wings. I think the forwards, the centers, our offensive side of, the ice has been very, very lackluster compared to what they're capable of, but that talent is there. Matthews, Mitch Marner, Nylander, Matthew Nyes, all those guys, the talent is there, and I think they can improve from within, whereas like me and Darius said yesterday, the blue line needs a personnel upgrade in the form of Nikita Zadorov, Chris Tanev, whatever they do, because of the amount of injuries. Klingberg's out, Liljegren is out, so hopefully Timothy Liljegren and Klingberg hopefully come back at some point, but I don't know. We need some changes. We need something to happen soon. A couple of other quotes here, and this is actually a quick update on Klingberg from today. His hip is in a situation where there's surgical intervention or not, which is a quick thing, and more clarity is expected this week, so we'll have you covered on that. We might have that covering another video coming soon. And then the final quote on the defensive core, he said, "It's certainly an area we'd like to help ourselves. When you're sitting here in November, it's easier said than done. But that's certainly an area that we look at and see if there's a way we can help ourselves." And again, we might elaborate that in a future video, but it seems like maybe the Flames are holding out on trading Nikita Zadorov, even though he has requested a trade, and Chris Tanev, given, since it's only November. And they may wait towards a trade deadline. That's kind of what the insight I'm getting there is. But that'll wrap up the video. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the daily Leafs content. Hopefully the Leafs can re-sign Nylander soon.